The opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Cable 14, its sponsors, or its shareholders, Cogeco Cable, Shaw Cable, and Source Cable Limited.
Well, welcome to Council Edition for Wednesday, December 19th. I'm Doug Farraway. We've got more downtown casino talk, the Mid-Peninsula Highway, the highway no one can kill, and Enbridge in Flamborough. Once again, it is a very busy show. Our guest is Ward 14 Councillor Rob Pasuta. It's good to have you back.
Thank you, Doug. It's a pleasure to be here.
We have to talk about casino again. I think just about every show this year, with every councillor, we've had to talk about casino. But I guess the reason is very clear now. An OLG extension of a contract at Flamborough Downs is coming up against a deadline. Hamilton City Council was given extra time by the OLG to decide what council may want to do. Just stay in Flamborough, as you have already passed a motion unanimously saying Flamborough. Or do you want to consider a casino in downtown Hamilton? And there's a timeline to that. We also don't know at this point in time who proponents are, but I can tell you, I don't know if you were watching Twitter this afternoon, but there was another verbal barrage of debating about the casino. It is the hottest topic in the city of Hamilton. Your thoughts on it, first of all. I don't know if I've asked you how you personally stand on the casino, but I'm going to presume and assume, which could get me into trouble, that Rob Pasuta is all for a casino and the continued operation in Flamborough.
Well, Doug, you're absolutely right. Flamborough is a commitment we have, and being in my ward, and part of Flamborough is the horse racing that was there. Now, casino and horse racing is not the same thing in the eyes of the OLG. They are with the casino. But, you know, I'm all for it. Part of the whole thing that hangs is on the agreement right now with the OLG and Great Canadian Gaming, who own Flamborough Downs. Flamborough Downs belongs to Great Canadian Gaming, and in order for somebody to bid on a casino within Hamilton, OLG has to obtain a lease on Flamborough Downs and the casino site. And as of last week, that has not happened yet. So if that doesn't happen, Flamborough Downs is totally out of the picture.
And as the OLG has made very clear, they have spoken with respect about Flamborough, but they have determined in their new policy they want to be where the most people are. And that's not Flamborough, and unfortunately it's not Fort Erie. They want to go where the population centers are, and thus Hamilton lives on. Toronto is considering it, and other cities throughout Ontario where the population base is are considering it. So that has always led me to, well, shouldn't we have a plan B if we're interested in still receiving the $4.5 million at minimum in tax dollars that Flamborough has been generating for the general coffers of the city of Hamilton? Is there a plan B that can happen in this town? I look at the council, Rob, and I go, boy, this is a very close vote from what I have heard so far about a downtown casino.
It's true, and OLG, Ontario Lottery and Gaming, want to be where the population is, and that's urban Hamilton, whether it's downtown, the mountain, or someplace. But it's true. Talk behind the scenes is downtown. And I'm not so sure from what I'm hearing from my colleagues, as you speak to one here and there down the hall or outside in the parking lot, there's no feel for downtown. There's no feel. But there's more information that come forward. Hopefully OLG opens up, presents more information to us, answers questions that be forthcoming as we move on, and we'll see where this goes. But it's difficult. It's really difficult. You hear all the goods and the bads, the pros and the cons here, and I'm open to listen, but my heart's in Flamborough.
Absolutely. What we haven't heard from so far are potential proponents. And I think a lot of Hamiltonians are waiting to see who they are. What is their background? Where have they run casinos before or hotels in partnership together? What has their success story been? We don't have any information yet, and I know some of your colleagues are very frustrated by that.
It's true. And if the big players come forward, they're going to want to have, the hotels, all the amenities to go with it. When you're at Flamborough, you're in the rural area, we do not have water there, we do not, city water and sewers out there. We cannot expand. It's in the greenbelt. So what you have there is what's there. You can build upon that only to enlarge your gaming floor. But other than that, there's no opportunity for a hotel there and that. So that's part of what the big players, what they don't want. They want to be where the people are. They want to be where the services are.
If there is no horse racing at Flamborough Downs, Charles Jurovinsky started that, I can't remember when, but I was a young reporter when Charles made the investment and opened up that facility, and it's been a great success story in Flamborough. But if there's no horse racing there, if there are no slots happening there, and if the thoroughbred industry determines that there is no future, because already breeders are not breeding thoroughbreds based on the uncertainty, what is the overall economic impact to the agribusiness in Hamilton? And I don't need you to give me a dollar figure because I don't think we actually, but tell me what the ripple effect is.
There's so many people employed through the horse racing industry, right from the people that have the horses to the trainers to the vets, people that provide feed, people that provide services as far as the vehicles, the trailers. It just goes on and on. The fencing, for the farmers out there that have the horses and board horses, farmers that board horses too, it's vast. And they talk of 60,000 jobs. We can be guaranteed there's 30 to 40,000 jobs are going to be affected by this. So with this new proposal, OLG's coming forward, and it's going to provide more jobs, more money. They're not looking back at the jobs that are going to be lost by taking away the horse racing. And it's not the OLG that's done this, it's the provincial government's taken away the funding, the program they had for the horse racing. But you know, Doug, if you look at the horse racing, if you look at slots, you look at buying lottery tickets, it's all gaming. Horse race is gaming too because you're betting. And that's something that OLG should take under their wing and say, no, we're part of this. We should be working with the horse racing industry, the farmers, to provide a venue for it. So it's difficult, but it's going to hurt a lot of people out there in the agriculture industry.
There have been some big issues, from the West Harbour Football Stadium to other things, but the casino seems to be ramping up to be one of the biggest in your time on council. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. The number one is the dollars involved in it. I mean, there's 4.5 million. We could benefit more from that, depending. We don't know exactly what the program is either, what the returns are going to be for sure. They haven't laid that out in the table. But should there be gaming tables, that would bring some more money, maybe some more slot machines will bring more money. So that's a factor on there, okay? But it's the social aspect. How's that going to harm? So is that going to take away what we have to look after, the social aspect of it, and whatever could happen? We don't know what could happen with downtown. We're not sure. We hear from the public health this, we hear from that. More research, but we're running short on time.
Absolutely.
We have to have something in place by March the 1st. Time's flying.
Dr. Richardson, you sit on Board of Health, and there was a great deal of interest in her presentation, but those are some numbers that should give everyone on council and the citizens who are debating this some pause before the decision is made.
Oh, absolutely. The report, there was good information in the report. If you go on to Google and start searching, goods, pros and cons of casinos and what happens out there, there's so much more that's not good about having casino than for it. I've been to Vegas many times over the years, and you get away off the farm for a little bit, and you look on the streets. If you go down the back street and you look who's sitting on the corner and got their hat out or head over, and you kind of watch people leave the casino too. People that look just ordinary people leaving, got their head down. You can tell they've lost a lot of money, and repercussions on the family and whatever else that goes on with that. It's hard to be a responsible gambler. I mean, even myself, you go to Vegas and you play and you're winning and you start coming down, well, I got to get that back. So you play. But it's all in fun for me. But I can see how you can get addicted to it. I can see that. Something
else that's been very controversial, and when you and I first discussed it, it was like, well, nobody's talking about this in Ward 14, but that's the Line 9. A lot of parties are now interested. We all understand that this is going to be a federal decision, but reversing the Line 9 from Sarnia to Westover certainly drew some heat and a lot of interest in council chambers when it was debated. And I guess to Enbridge's credit, finally, in the end, they came and made a significant presentation to Hamilton Council. Your thoughts now on the Line 9?
Well, Doug, it's true. Enbridge was a little reluctant to come to council. They did come. They made an excellent presentation, gave good information and good follow-up information. My experience, and I don't have a pipeline, but a lot of my residents have pipelines through their property, through their farms. When pipelines first came in, they were controversial. They just rammed through people's property. They rammed through wetlands, put them in, didn't really give a darn about anybody. Times have changed. We're more environmentally responsible. We have organizations, groups who would take the lead on this, and I respect them for what they do, totally. What I'm hearing from the farmers out there now, and Enbridge is doing a lot of integrity digs, and that's where they send a machine through what they call a pig through the lines, and they check the lines and the condition of it. They can pick up the spots that may be questionable as far as maybe, it needs a weld or something there. So then they do a dig on the farmer's property. They're doing these digs quite responsibly. They come in, they'll build the road if they have to. They will do the dig. Farmer's crop, they'll pay them for the loss. They put the soil, everything back in the condition it was received in, and quite respectful. And farmers are appreciating that, and we're seeing that. And we've got some farms that got 7, 8 digs out there, and every dig costs Enbridge between $150,000 and $175,000. And more digs than ever are being done, following up and checking the pipeline thoroughly. But I haven't had any complaints from the residents who have a pipeline coming through their property or the neighboring residents of those farmers. I'm getting more and more comments from people outside the area, I would say, still involved in Hamilton, with concerns. But I feel comfortable with Enbridge.
Good. They call it the highway that never dies. The Mid-Niagara Corridor. I'm thinking you and I will be lucky to be alive when they start paving. But it's back in the news because all of a sudden there was some documents showing possible routes. And if people don't understand, this is the one that's going to run from the border and then link up with our 400 series of highways to expedite, business between Canada and the United States. The bridges we do have over the Niagara Gorge are rather old, and so something new will be built. It's a massive undertaking, but the bottom line is it swoops through the middle of the Niagara Peninsula, through the back end of Ancaster, and right smack dab, we don't know which corridor, but it doesn't matter which way they go, they're going smack dab through Ward 14 and then 15 and then into Halton. We know there are citizens groups who are already opposed. The timeline seems to be quite far off. This may not even start construction until 2031.
It's true.
But it is a massive undertaking. It's out there. There is some opposition. What are your thoughts? Because no matter what happens, a huge swath of farmland in Ward 14 is going to be impacted.
Well, Doug, absolutely. They're coming across. They actually got 3 paths kind of in a vision right now. And it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to be coming across a lot of farmland, good productive farmland, some of the best we have in Ontario. And in between all that good farmland is environmentally sensitive areas, wetlands, creeks.
Beverly Swamp.
Beverly Swamp, which is significant, okay, for recharge area, for water, for all of Hamilton. It's a long ways off. I wish, Doug, I wish we're still called a young country, a young city. We have built, grown, and developed all over, unlike Europe where they were condensed when they built. They had a good transit program. They had the trains. We don't have that. We are growing, but we're also spread out. We have not brought our cities and built our cities close together. We need a method of transportation, and rail would be the best way to move a lot of product. Rail would be the best way if we could get the people on board, let's say, to take transit, take the GO train, take the train, whatever we can put in place. And that's maybe a vision for the future. And that's something that this Mid-Pen thing should be considering, because the highways are just more and more congested all the time. And, we could look at maybe, I don't know how you get your way to number 6 highway. Number 6 highway could be widened again and bring it up to the 401. That's maybe one of the better ways to go than where we're looking at.
Maybe they'll have it in time for the Ticats. No, that's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. I don't think so. But it's a controversial issue, and it's just going to be devastating to come across all that farmland.
And in that case, it sounds like you want that farmland preserved. It is some of the finest farmland in the country. Now I take you to Erythropolis.
Yes, sir.
Where farmland is going to be presumably paved, serviced, and turned into basically an industrial park. It's a massive plan. It is inching closer to us. This is going to be an OMB challenge. And if I had to put a ranking on it behind the casino, I would say in certain quarters it's the number 2 concern of a lot of people. And there we go. Some fine arable land in that area that will be chewed up. I know you're on record with your thoughts, and you and I have talked about this before, but as it comes closer and closer, where do you stand? What do you think?
So I know where you're going. So I supported Aerotropolis, absolutely. And I supported in the first phase of it, not the second at this point in time, the first phase. And I did listen to all the reports and paid attention. I listened to the people who are opposed to it. We've only got so many brownfield sites and they're small. The airport is there, no different than I said before. When you take Toronto International Airport, that was all farmland there. You can see what there is now. Still a little portion of it's being worked a little bit down there, but it's insignificant. We need a way of generating income. There's this place where the airport is. You set your businesses up, you set your warehouses up. Warehouses don't create a lot of jobs, but there's still a spin-off effect from that too. And I'm still on board, and I haven't changed my mind on having the first phase for the airport and Plymouth growth district, or Aerotropolis, you want to call it that. And I haven't changed my mind on that. I think we need that because the way things are going in the city itself, it needs a lot of updating. We're way behind on infrastructure, and if we can do that there, that's fine.
And I noticed for the first time in a long time, land that had been serviced many years ago with a fine golf course that was obliterated for expansion at John Munro has just all been leveled, cleaned up, and it's ready to go. So it is coming. And due to the city's success with the brownfields and the businesses that are now filling in the old manufacturing and industrial heart of Hamilton, and because of our success at Red Hill, we're filling in the serviceable land there. So you're probably bang on with the thought that where are we going to go next to keep that sustainable development? People may not want to hear me say that, but it's the truth for a growing family. So where do you do it? Well, how do you do it?
Doug, I think there's a message being sent here because Canada Bread has come there, Maple Leaf Meats is setting up. There's more people coming here. The message is getting out. Downtown's got some cranes coming up there, and there's buildings coming up, hotels and that. I see things on the move. I was born in Hamilton, raised out in the country down there. Things are changing.
Yes.
And fairly fast.
The budget still stands at I think you were quoted last week as saying, the budget as it stands, I can't vote for it. Where do we stand right now with the budget? And I'll get on to, the police angle to it in a moment, but where are we sitting? Over 3% easily, are we not?
3.5% with some of the reduction staff are looking at. It's going to be difficult to get it down to a zero. As we all know, costs keep going up. It doesn't matter what you do, it keeps going up. For many, the wages don't go up, though, and that's part of the problem. So, I don't know where I'm comfortable at. I want to hear more of the staff's reports come back, information, talk about it, see where we can get to. But I don't know if we're going to get below 2% or not. It's pretty tough, wages and benefits, and there's guarantees because of union issues and what we've put in place. And things go up too. All our costs go up for run the city.
The city last year did put a Band-Aid on the provincial downloads to get us through a year. There was no guarantee that we would continue on next year with the same Band-Aid. There was going to be a campaign to alert Queen's Park to the fact that you've got to do better for the citizens of Hamilton. We're in limbo without a new premier or an election,
right,
or we're prorogued. How does Hamilton get the province's attention for those millions of dollars that Sam Marula keeps drilling into us that have been downloaded to the city of Hamilton? Various federal programs have been downloaded to the city of Hamilton, and the property tax. This is going to be a tough one. You've been successful in the last 2 years at getting under 1%, but then there's that big chunk, that other number that's sitting out there, where the police have contracts coming up. They started at 5.25.
Right.
They got it to 4.75. Right. The councillors on the Police Services Board have said, you've got to do better than that. And so what did you make of the remarks from Chief DeCare when he suggested he would have to get some legal advice?
I was taken back by the remarks. Premature, I would say, saying that. I can understand the chief's position as far as, we need more officers and that. I understand what he's saying because based on statistics that we have, our numbers of police officers per capita is less than anywhere else. But I can say and the police chief is doing a terrific job. He's out and about and he's tough. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if he's going to whittle it down any more than maybe a bit. He may come down to 4. I think after that, I think we're going to hold. I've got residents. This is probably the hottest issue I've ever had as far as residents calling in, emailing in, and saying, don't give the police any more than what they got last year. In fact, other ones saying, give them less. I said, you can't do that. But they said, stick by your guns, negotiate. If they have to go to arbitration, let them go. That's my residents talking, not me. I'm still open to listen and see what comes back from the chief.
Are the other councillors getting the same kind of feedback?
Some of them are. The ones I've talked to discuss the situation, they are. The public is reaching out to the council and telling them to keep the budget down on the police.
Hey, we could talk urban chickens again, because it did pop up again, but I want to make sure we cover off stuff in Ward 14. You have, this is a great time of the year, obviously, and in every ward there are great events. You've got a couple coming up, and if we have time, we'll touch on urban chickens, because you know all about them. But what's going on in Ward 14 over the holiday period?
Well, Doug, on December the 27th, we're having a public skate at the Beverly Arena over by Rockton at 2 o'clock, and I'm sponsoring that for this year from 2 till 4. So it's a great time, and there'll be hot chocolate and all that good stuff over there. So last year was a full ice rink. It was great. So people can come out, and it's free to anybody that wants to go over to Rockton on Highway 8 down there. So that's a great event. And then coming on December the 27th, so I've got the 28th is the skate. The 27th is the Christmas open house at the Lois Dairy Farm. And that's on Powerline Road, 1399 Powerline Road. They milk 350 cows there, dairy cows. You can come out and see cows being milked, and they're going to have hot chocolate, going to have samples of cheese, tour of the barns to see the cattle, and the calves are in there. It's a terrific event. So if it's cold, dress up. You'll be inside and outside, and you'll get to see cows milked. And Lois Dairy Farm is the largest dairy farm we have in the city of Hamilton. Wentworth County, in the old days we called it, and they are a terrific farm operation, and family really appreciate.
And that would be such a cool event for families. Get your little ones out
Absolutely.
there, right?
It's perfect.
All right, we've got 2 minutes left to go.
Yeah.
Urban chickens.
Urban chickens
came up again. Councillor Farr, Councillor McCaddy, leading the way. They have a lot of constituents who'd like to try it in the city. It is a growing thing. It's happening in other cities. It's happening in backyards in New York City, I believe, and in Chicago, and I can't list them all off. 300 cities around the world, I'm told by my excellent producer. So why not Hamilton? And you're the guy everybody looks to, longtime member of the OFA. Rob, what do you think about chickens in the city?
Well, Doug, I spoke against it. And I've got a lot of reasons why, and Public Health did some research. Didn't come forward with enough that I thought, enough information to people that don't understand chickens but want chickens, didn't come forward with enough. They didn't reach out to the Chicken Farmers of Ontario for information, didn't reach out to the Egg Farmers of Ontario for information. That should have come forward. Councillor Farr, a good friend of mine, he came to me and he says, Rob, what do you think about if I do a pilot? And I hummed and hawed, and I said, you know what? Sure, try a pilot, but we need more information, and that's why I voted the way I did at council. I voted to receive the report, but then I also asked for more information to come forward, and that got turned down. So in saying that, I said to Councillor Farr, you do the pilot, go ahead. Chickens are different than having vegetables. Chickens are alive. You just can't get rid of them. It costs you money to set up a coop and all of that. If they're prepared to go ahead with the pilot, and not be successful, then all of that has to be taken down and gotten rid of. It didn't fly. And I did get some emails from some people in Hamilton. Why'd you vote one way and then you voted the other way? I said, you know what? We need more information. Maybe that way, it's going to come back. Chickens are going to come back. I'm sure they are. But get all the information, and then let people, do the pilot and let people decide. But there's no appetite around the table, I can tell you, from the other councillors to have chickens, urban chickens. We can get our eggs at the store, at the market, the farmers markets. You can go to the country and buy eggs off the farm. Get them when you get your groceries.
We end 2012 with urban chickens. Thanks, Councillor Rob Pasuta.
Thank you, Doug.
Appreciate it. Have a great holiday. That is the Council edition for Wednesday, December the 19th. We return in a couple of weeks, January 9th, 2013. Like the ring of that. With Ward 15 Councillor Judy Partridge. I'm Doug Farraway. I want you to have a safe and happy holiday season. For Mike Cameron and the rest of the crew, Merry Christmas to you. Joyeux Noël. Thanks for watching.